Hello. Welcome to another episode of UnBroken Stories of Adoption and Identity. Well, today I have two very special guests, and they are my daughters, Sanaa and Serena. Welcome, ladies. Y'all don't know how excited I am to have my babies here today. So today's episode is going to be a little different because it's not so much about adoption, because of course these are my biological children, but more about identity and how them learning about their mom being adopted, how it's shaped our family, and talk more about identity and family and that kind of thing. So welcome. So I want to start by, you, Sanaa, just introduce yourself, tell your age, tell us a little bit about, your career and that kind of thing, and then Serena, you'll follow.
Hi, I am Sanaa. I'm 24. I'm a master esthetician in DC. So I work in medical grade skincare, and I've been doing beauty and lashes for about 5 years.
Thank you. Serena?
I'm Serena. I'm a college student in Florida. I study business, and I'm just jumpstarting my career.
Okay, so tell us your career. Tell a little bit about your
Well, studying business, I wanted to hopefully lead me into athletics. Working sort of hand in hand with athletes, brand representation, player development, anything I could do to help them, really. But I just want to work in the world of athletics, and I've already jump-started that a little bit myself.
All right, really. Welcome, ladies. So what we're going to do is kind of talk a little bit about at what point do you guys remember your mom, me talking to you about me being adopted? And so you can start, Sanaa, you being the oldest.
Got you. Probably as long as I can remember, honestly. We always spent time with grandma. Like I said, as long as I can remember. And looking at pictures, I always knew that, you didn't look like granddad.
Right.
So that was another big thing that stood out. And as I grew up, I always knew you were adopted, but it never felt that way because our family was so close. Yeah, so I've always known you were adopted. I didn't start to understand it probably until about middle school. Really understand it.
Okay. And Serena?
For me, I would say it was the same for me. It was just always, that's just what it was for us. You were adopted. I don't remember specifically when you told us, but that was always just how our family dynamic was set up. And I knew other people had biological grandparents, and I knew other people's parents had their biological parents, but you just weren't that. And that was just what we were. And I went to school with people who were adopted and things like that. And some of my friends' parents were adopted, but that was just normal to me. That was life.
So just to share, so you guys never met their granddad, my dad, but had a relationship with my adopted mother, Sissy. So tell me a little bit about when you started understanding what that really meant. When I'm sharing it and how, let me just start there, what that meant to you guys.
I would say about the same, probably late elementary, middle. If anything, I would say for me, it probably registered the most when grandma passed away.
Okay.
Probably because then it was we were in middle school. I was in sixth grade.
Yeah, this is 2016, yeah.
2016. Yeah, I probably was in sixth grade, late elementary school, and that's just, when it kind of registered for me, because of course it hurt us too, but then at the same time, that's also when I feel you also sort of started to delve more into your biological family, at least in my memory. That's when I remember you starting to delve into that a lot too, because you have to remember when she bought that 23andMe kit and all that. So for me, that's when it really started to register, probably about the time grandma passed away.
And it's amazing because when I bought the 23andMe kit, I don't know what happened. I never used it.
I remember
don't know. I got nervous about what would it uncover. So I bought it and never used it.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, genuinely, when we started to spend time with your birth family, It's probably when it started to hit for me. We would go see them during holidays.
Yes.
And see the similarities and who you looked like.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it started to kind of really sink in my head, like, okay, like there's something different about the biological family. And I think it took so long for it to hit for me, also because you looked like grandma. You looked a lot like grandma, so it was almost hard to remember that you were adopted. Yeah.
Now, when did I start like having conversations with you guys about it? Did you?
I think high school for me, probably. Yeah, when you started to kind of talk more about it and talk more about why you were putting a lot of this energy towards getting to know, asking all these questions, wanting to just get answers because it's a part of who you are.
Yeah. And Serena, you?
I would say about the same time. Yeah, same time I said before, like probably leading up to the time when grandma was about to pass away, and when she did, that's it. Like I said, that's when you really tried to delve into it. That's when you really like started bringing it up a lot, like, because I assume losing her for you was very like, it was another level to the whole situation in itself of being adopted. And then, okay, you still know your birth family. Like you said, we would be with them on holidays. And so now it's like, okay, the woman who chose me is now gone. So now it's like, this really is completely up to me and totally to make my own decision about who I am and how much I want to find out about that.
Yeah. So I remember when I recorded the first episode and you were here and you really had a strong emotional reaction. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit? Like, because I remember you saying, I've heard this story so many times. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's specifically emotional because I'm not adopted. I think that plays a huge part in it. To hear about my personal birth mother not being raised by her birth mother and spending basically your whole life wanting answers and wanting to understand and just wanting to know the whole story. So hearing your story and hearing the different pieces that maybe I didn't know or maybe different pieces that really hit, it's emotional for me because I don't have any questions. So I could imagine what that feels like. And I think that was why I was so emotional.
And then Serena,
yeah, I'll say I never thought about it like that. Like, yeah, I've never had those questions, so I can only imagine having those questions. But then again, you being adopted definitely affected our family upbringing. Like we didn't have, well, we had grandma, but still we didn't have like regular grandparents. I mean, we didn't have cousins a lot that we knew or were super close with or, hung out with on a weekly, monthly basis. Like, I mean, we didn't really have aunts. We had these things, just not in the normal way people have them. Like, it was always friends or family friends. It was never blood. The people in our lives who we considered to be cousins, uncles, whatever, was never blood.
So one thing I wanted just to add to it, because I think it's important, why I was saying this episode is more about identity, because, and this is bringing in the marriage. So, being born as Kristen Marie Davis, and then being adopted, Kristen Marie Bryant, and then I married your dad. We were married for 10 years, and now I'm Kristen Marie Bostic. And then now being divorced from your dad. So that's why I think it's so important to talk about identity, because I struggle. Like, really, who am I? Now my mom's gone. You guys never met my dad because he died when I was 25. Now, married and now divorced. Now that's also another piece of who I am that's, for lack of a better word, that's now failed. So, I struggle with, like, who am I? Like, who am I? Who is Kristen? And then now rearing and raising y'all by myself. And now y'all are young women, right? So, raising you guys, we had our challenges, we had our struggles. And then now, in some of those struggles, now saying, now you guys need to learn about who Kristen Marie is. You remember those conversations like, no, you need to get to know me not as just your mom. I'm this person as well. So there was a lot of sadness and struggle, you know, divorcing your dad, like, and really asking myself, who am I, right? And with these layers. So how do you think, knowing that, how did that affect you? Now you know I'm adopted. You know you're being raised basically by a single mom, and that, you know, y'all, you know, the divorce. Of course, Serena, you were a lot younger. Like, tell me more about how that may have molded you guys, affected you guys, in learning, you know, about me, and then how you guys were raised and reared.
Yeah, I think growing up, it was definitely something I picked up on quickly. Probably 15, 16 is when it really started to, like, I visualized or understood why things were so hard or a struggle. And I think similar to what Serena said about not having that big family.
Yeah.
You know, we always knew Dad's side, but your side was kind of like, you know, some people we talk to, some people we don't. So you transitioning into a single mother was difficult because, you know, you're raising two young girls who you want us to know who we are.
Right.
But also still figuring out who you are.
Yeah.
At the same time. So I just think it was heavy for you. And of course I didn't understand it completely at that age, but I mean, to be adopted, to be a wife, and then to no longer be a wife and just be a mom, and then, you know, have to kind of focus on that, but still want to figure out who you are. I think I've watched you go through a lot of different, like, shedding of skin, essentially. You shedded a lot of skin, a lot of different layers. And that was hard because, like I said, I can't relate. And that's what was hard for me as a kid. I didn't understand. And of course, as a kid, I would be frustrated, or I would be like, why don't we do this? Or why we don't do things that way? But I also don't know what that feels like. So looking back on it as an older kid now, I'm like, to see how well you did and how beautifully we both grew up, that's the part that makes it, we call you Wonder Woman for a reason. I mean, you really grew into who you are in that process.
Wow. Don't start.
I'm not. I'm trying not to.
Okay.
But I'll say for me, it was like, yeah, like you grew into who you are. Like, but those were just always parts of you to me. Like, it never. I just think you did a great job.
Yeah.
With everything all together.
Yeah.
At once. And like Sanaa said, like, it wasn't easy, but it was, you made it happen. And I tell you all the time how grateful I am for you, because we never had certain options. Like, we couldn't call grandma, we couldn't call aunts, we couldn't call these people.
Yeah.
And so it was hard for us. And like, even now when I think about growing up, I really realize how much we pulled on you. But to me, I think one of my biggest things is that I'm grateful for, that I know, is that I have always tied my identity back to you. The big part of my identity is you. I always say, oh, we're twins. Yeah. We're the same people. Like, we are, because I don't see myself in anybody else besides her. Y'all are the people I see myself in. So I guess it's making me emotional now to really think about not being able to have that. Because I couldn't imagine what I'd be without y'all two.
And I think too, it's important to note that, like, and we've been talking in preparation, just in preparation for today. Like, the girls are 5 years apart, so Sanaa actually has memories of me and her dad together where Serena doesn't. So
for me, that was always my norm. Like, and that's just kind of how I feel about everything. It was always my norm. Like, that's just what it was. It was never shocking to me. It was never like, I don't want to say it wasn't deep information to process, because it was, you know, an emotional aspect.
Yeah.
Not really having my father, like, because like you say, our thing too with our dad is that we have different relationships with him. Yeah. Because you remember growing up with him. I don't. To me, I always lived with mom. I visited dad. So to me, again, it was always just mom. Like, mom was number one. Mom was head of the household. Mom was the person that took care of us. Mom was the person that was there at night and there in the morning when we woke up. Mom was the person we called if we're sick at school. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was just like, I don't know. You were always my point person. Yeah.
So you share a little bit about you having memories of being in a two-parent household temporarily. Then I want to kind of go on how that shapes your individual identities.
I mean, I make jokes all the time. I was a brat. I was spoiled. I was y'all's first baby. So, you know, I really, whether there's parts of our relationship with my dad that I don't like or not, I know who I am through and through because I grew up with you guys and I watched you guys be in love. So, you know, that's a very blessed way to feel, genuinely. And it just, you know, it showed me something that not a lot of families get to see.
And what's that?
That, you know, coming from a two-parent household, knowing I get certain personality traits from my father. I get a lot of personality traits from you, and it's like, it's this little melting ground where I'm like, oh wow, like, okay, I'm just like dad, but I'm just like mom. But I get this from dad and I get this from mom. I don't like this about dad. I don't like this about, like, it was always something I could reference, go back to and look at. And so that was always super cool. And yeah, it was definitely, and it made it that much harder when you guys split. For me, it was hard. Yeah, that was hard for me. So yeah.
Yeah,
I can imagine that, because I mean, I even asked you the other day. I was like, because I had asked you if you remembered something. I was like, you remember when mom and dad this and that? You were like, yeah, like, and so for me, I think that was the first time I ever really asked you. I know you had certain memories, but I guess for me, like, yeah, it really registered, like, because I guess I wasn't really conscious when y'all were together, like, because you guys separated when I was really little, so I don't really have any memories. Like I said, I don't have any memories of you guys under the same roof. I don't. So, but even then, it's like, with the time I have spent with dad, it is like, I still see myself in him too. Yeah. And again, that's another privilege that I have, is like, I do still see myself in him, even looks. Yeah. Like personality, interests, you know, and when I was little, I was still like a daddy's girl. When I was little, I felt like I had a pretty even split. But as I grew up, I think just, especially being a woman too, I just gravitated towards you. You know, mannerisms, the way you handle yourself, career, education, everything. It's like, I just take all my stuff from you because you were the achiever to me.
I think for me, like, one of the things that I struggle with raising you guys is wanting to give you like a family, but then that wasn't my point of reference. So how can I give you something that I didn't even experience, right? So even growing up in my house with both my parents in a two-parent household, my dad being from Birmingham, Alabama, so his family was in Alabama, and then my mom being from Baltimore, her family was up here. But because we were adopted, my brother and I, we were adopted, there was still not cousins. It was literally just us four. We weren't going hanging out with my mom's family because there was quite a few people that she didn't like in her family. And then the distance with my dad's family being in Birmingham. So like, I had aunties and uncles and that kind of thing, but we weren't close with them. You know what I mean? So one thing that I had always struggled with is like, around holiday time, you know, going for Christmas, you know what I mean? That's just something, and it's something I couldn't give you guys. So
yeah, that's always been a thing for you, was the holidays. I mean, even now, like, it's not it was never your favorite time of year.
It was always hard.
It was hard. Like, and I guess for me, I'll say that was probably, if I can think of a time when I really had a realization, that was probably it. Like around the holidays, probably a couple of years ago, probably right before I started high school, really, is when it really started to hit, when you started to get more into the holidays. But that's when you started to open up more about how hard it was for you. And I guess I never thought about it like that, because when I was little, I was a little kid. So I'm like, why can't we just have Christmas? Why can't we just like have a normal holiday or this and that and that? But I never, of course, as a little kid, I didn't know how emotionally rough it was for you, because holidays is a time when you are with family. So I guess the more I realized that our Christmases were just us, that's when I was like, oh, I get it now. And even when we were staying with your friends from high school, the Willings.
The Willings, yeah.
And that's probably when I really realized it. Because that's probably one of the first, like, big Christmases we had.
Yeah, so let me just share a little bit about that. And I shared that on a previous episode. That was one of the rough times. We literally had went through a rough patch where we were homeless. And we ended up staying with the Willings, who were another family of one of your high school friends. And so literally, oh my God, we were literally being evicted around Christmas time. And we would go to their house and spend Christmas with them. They had this big Christmas party. And so this particular Christmas, they were wondering why we weren't at the party. And you ended up sharing with Danielle. We were being evicted, and next thing I know, the Willings came and picked you guys up. And I'll never forget that. She called me, Joy, and was like, I'm coming to pick up the girls. I don't really care what's going on. And you let me know when you're ready to come. She came and picked y'all guys up. And then I think I came maybe 4 days later, because I had to get myself together mentally. And I will never forget the Willings, because they literally had incorporated us in their Christmas. They had bought presents for us. They had, Christmas pajamas, if my memory serves me correctly.
I was helping them wrap gifts. And I remember that.
And then I remember, and I finally came, because I got to be honest, at that time I was feeling ashamed, like I was a failure. And then we were in, I think, Bethesda, and we stayed with them over a year. But that Christmas was so special, because you guys we sat around like we were part of the family. They shared gifts. And so that experience, it was beautiful, because it was like, that was something all their family, and they just incorporated us, like, and they were Caucasian.
I remember that.
And supported us. I mean, they gave y'all guys your own room. They gave me my own room, and they spoiled us. Like, it was a really rough patch, but we got a sense of a family feel. And that's something I feel like that has always lacked for me. So how can I give you something that's I don't really know how to do? So y'all share a little bit about that Christmas. And
yeah, that was such a natural interaction. Me and Danielle were friends, played basketball together at school, and I was just telling my friend what was going on in my life. And that's and she was just kind of like, oh no, told her parents. And that's how everything kind of happened. She was like, wait, what's happening? And that was just so sweet. But it was definitely, it was hard for me, because I went to school with her. I went to school. So it was very, very, very hard for me. But it was also beautiful, like you said, because a family took our family in. Didn't really care what the situation was. They were like, well, you're our family now. And so that was the part that was like, wow, okay, you can just recreate something new. You don't have to get stuck in the trauma of knowing or not knowing your whole story or the people that you look like or come from. And that's kind of a point for me where I was like, well, let's start our own traditions. And I think the biggest one that I think is so funny and that I still love is every Thanksgiving we kind of like to order a different international cuisine, whether it's African food, Indian food. That's kind of became our thing because we were like, well, what can we do that's our thing, that's our tradition, you know, that we can just start since we don't have so much tradition from our elders.
Yeah, that was special because on Christmases we started, y'all know I love Africa all day, every day. So we have this favorite restaurant called After 12 in PG County. And we ordered all this African food.
Cassava leaf, rice, fish.
Egusi.
So I'll say that too. Like, that is one thing I definitely took from her. And just like the whole everything. It's just like, I don't worry so much about what I'm lacking. I just worry about how I can create to fulfill that situation. Because for me, if it's just us three on Thanksgiving, it's just us three. That's what it is. If it's just us three on Christmas, it's just us three on Christmas. If it's just us three, that's my family. Like, when we go out, we're having a family day. I don't feel like I need the house to be full for it to feel full. It's just us three, and I'm okay with that, and I can live with that.
And then can I share, with your permission, a little bit about our rough patch and Nick's family?
Yeah, you can do that.
Good, because I think that's so important.
It is.
So Serena and I had a really, really rough patch where I put her out because I thought she was being disrespectful. This was literally second semester of her senior year. And
so I'm months away from graduating.
Months away from graduation. She was not with me January, February, and March. And at that point, I had to save myself and my mental because I felt like the disrespect was so out of hand. But we're not gonna go into that. But what happened was, Serena ended up staying with her boyfriend's family for 3 months. A family. We're talking about a 2-parent household, a mom, a dad, and grandma. And I was struggling, and then I realized, oh my God, for this rough patch that we went through, I was so happy you were where you were. Right? Because now she gets to feel what a real core family feel like, right? And so I did feel embarrassment and shame, right? And then what happened was, it's her senior year. So Serena had applied to, I believe it was 26 colleges. On her own, without any help from mom. And you got accepted at 17.
I probably got accepted at more if I finished, but I was like, that's enough.
And, you know, we were still talking, but it was distant. And I remember you calling me and say, hey, Mom, you know, I think I decided where I want to go. You know, will you take me down there? I said, absolutely. And then we flew down to Bethune-Cookman in Daytona Beach, Florida. And we went and visited the school. And you knew that's where you wanted to go. Then we subsequently flew back for admitted
students day. Probably like Students Day. Literally not even 4 weeks later.
4 weeks later. But what was crazy was that particular weekend, you had been gone for 3 months. And now it's time to fly back home. I'm in the lobby losing it because I put her out, and now I want her back home.
And no, what you said it was for you specifically too. You were like, because we were talking, like we were literally about to fly out, I think the next day or later that day. And I was like, something when I go home. And I was talking about their house when I said home. And I guess that, you know, that set you off.
So I went downstairs, and for anybody that knows me, I'm a very goofy. And Scott had to figure out, how can I talk about something serious and open her up, right?
My God.
So I was downstairs in the lobby talking to my best friend. I'm like, y'all gotta help me. Like, I don't know what to do because she's not really coming back home. Like, and so they literally told me, that was Pran and Jeff, what to say.
They came up with that?
Yes. So I went down, and so I came upstairs and I was like, hey, you know, I gotta talk to you about something. And then I say to her with my goofy behind, I gotta tell you something, I'm pregnant. And she's like, what?
So
Like, I was trying to break up.
So serious.
I was trying to break up the fact that I gotta be super vulnerable and communicate to her how much I miss her and I want her to come back home, but haven't put her out. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm pregnant. And she's like, what? I was like, no. I was like, you said something, you did some things, I said some things, but I need you back home because all I know is I love you and love conquers all of this bullshit that we went through. Mm-hmm. So then you just was like, you know, and then you were like, when she cried, I knew I had. So I learned a lot from that. And then she took 2 weeks.
Probably longer than that.
To figure out, because now you're not putting me out, and now you want me to come back home, right? So
and I remember that because when that was happening, like I'm prideful. I'm like you. I'm very prideful. So I remember when I was staying away from home, like I was grinding it out. I was going to school. I was going to school. Right after school, I was going to practice. Right after practice, I was going to work every day. I probably slept less than 5 hours every night. But I said I didn't care. I was like, she put me out. I would take care of myself. That's what it was.
Yeah. So
yeah.
What I loved about even though I felt so bad and I was shameful, and my shame came from I don't know how their family is perceiving me. So I remember when you were like, okay, I'm ready to come back home, and she packed her stuff. And when I went to pick you up, I had purposely went and got a card for mom and dad, and grandma. And I put in a card, I just wanted to thank them for being a village, right? Because I feel like I didn't have a village being an adoptee and no longer married and trying to rear 2 girls. And so what I love about that hard struggle was you got to experience a real family. Because grandma did not play. Nick's family they were like high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, his parents.
So I'm like, yo, and he has a twin brother, so it was like she's
and
living
all their extended family too, like they're a big family. They're a big family. Like they have yearly cookouts. They like just everything. They spend the holidays together, they do everything together. Everything is a big family event. So for me, I remember specifically, I think I told you about this like just the other day. Was when I was like, oh wow, this is what it's like to have like 2 parents. Like I mean, and not just 2 parents, 2 active parents, because he has 2 active parents. Was like, I just remember, like I remember I got sick one time when I was over there, right? I got sick. It was like wintertime, so I'm outside, I'm catching the bus to school. This and that, I had a cold. But it was really bad. And I think this was also when COVID started coming back around, kind of high in numbers. And I couldn't go to school that day, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm staying in the house. And his mom also works in a hospital too. Yeah. So she works at medical. So she was like, okay, like take this, do that. Da, da. So they had an at-home COVID test, had me take that. And then like, it was like, it literally felt like they were my parents. Like I'm sitting at the kitchen table, they're talking to me and they're like, okay, take the COVID test, send us a picture when you finish it. If it's positive, so and so will take you to the first care, urgent care later. This and that and that. They were asking if I had my insurance card. Like it was just like they really went over a whole plan for me because I didn't feel good. And they wanted to make sure I was okay. They wanted to make sure I didn't get anybody else sick. And they also just were trying to figure out how to manage it, like both their parents. So for me, I just remember that moment because I felt like their kid in that moment. And it was funny to have a mom and a dad talking at me because I'm not used to that. So
yeah. And
I remember that.
And I remember now when I'm picking you up and I gave them the card. And I'm being, really transparent, vulnerable. I really felt, I really had shame. And I remember giving Miss Queenie the card, and and she read it, and they never judged me. The first thing she said was, "We just need y'all. You just needed a little break," you know.
Yeah.
And but I thought it was really important to express my gratitude that they were your village when you needed it most.
Yeah.
And never judged me. Never had anything to say. You know, welcome me in, and you know, so you know, bringing that full circle to like identity, I felt like I used to feel some kind of way because I felt like I couldn't give you a family. And then I was so grateful because then you got a feel of what a family dynamic is, a big family. Because, you know, it still feels weird to me sometimes when you go around friends and stuff and around the holiday and everybody's coming together and I'm still just in awe because it's such a beautiful thing. Like, and again, not a point of reference for me. So again, how can I give you something that I did not experience? You know what I mean? So share a little bit about that, Sanaa, like about, you know, how.
Yeah, it's definitely full circle. And I think my perspective today is the fact that your family was supposed to be created from scratch. And that's what happened through us. Yeah. You had beautiful children. And through that, you have a lot of other people and villages that came with that. Yeah. As we grew up. And I still don't look at our family as like not a real family because the fact that you didn't grow up with the typical family dynamic, I feel like you went twice as hard in everything that you taught us. To this day, I haven't met siblings closer than we are. To this day. Yes. And I don't know if I ever will. But that's something you ingrained in us because you didn't have a big family. You didn't have a biological sibling. Or, you know, so, I mean, the closeness that we have today is something that you manifested through what you didn't have. And that's the part that I think is so beautiful. And so I'm so grateful to have because, I mean, just thinking if I didn't have a mom who was adopted, would I have been taught the slew of things that I learned from you? You know what I mean? Yeah. And just to also share, Sanaa and Serena have 2 older siblings. They have a brother named Miles and then an older sister named Nikayla. You know, and they are still pretty close to their siblings, and those are basically my stepchildren through marriage. And that was very important to me. Like, even when I was married, you know, having 2 other, you know, when I first got married, learning how to be not only a wife, but also a stepmother. Before I even ever had y'all, you know, that was critical to me based on my background and knowing that I had brothers that I didn't know or grew up with. That you guys, that was imperative. Like, y'all gonna be close, y'all gonna get to know your siblings.
I will say that is one thing for me, I will say, from the way we grew up that kind of still affects me to this day in a sense, is like, yes, we're so close. Like, this is my best friend, this is my sister. Like, yeah. And you always told me, and it's true, like, once you're gone, this is who I have. Yeah. Like, I couldn't imagine being an adult and not having a sibling. Like, we're each other's, like, if we don't have anybody else as adults, as siblings, as people, whatever, we have each other. I have my sister. This is my sister. We're the only people, I say all the time, like, she's the only person who grew up under the same roof as me. Yes. Nobody else did in this entire world, no matter how many close friends I've had or whatever. But for me, like, now, for when some people, you know, have trouble with their parents, with, you know, the people who, their guardians, whatever, who's raising them, I understand that. That's life. You know what I mean? Like, I have a certain relationship with my father. You're my mom. I understand not everybody has their parents. You were adopted. So I understand. Sometimes you have different relationships with the people that raised you because of whatever. But for me, when people aren't close with their siblings, that's always kind of a shocker for me. That's what really takes me aback. I'm like, how are you not? That's your sister. That's your brother. How are you not close with your sister or brother? Like, to me, that's a foreign thing in my head, I will say. Like, that's kind of foreign. When people tell me that, it definitely, like, knocks me off guard. Because I'm like, wait. But then when I really sit back and think about it, like, you fostered that relationship. Like, it's not, you raised us separately as our own people, but you also raised us together. I feel like some people don't do that with their kids. Like, you have to raise your children who are siblings, and again, who will be the only people we have once our parents are gone, together. Of course, we're our own people. You have to foster the individuality in your children, but at the same time, your children are also a unit. We're a unit. Me and my sister are a unit.
I know y'all a unit. Y'all so much a unit. Y'all.
What?
I remember when y'all were little, like, you know, when the kids are little, they fight, and I remember one time I said, oh, they done lost their mind, and I remember, remember, and y'all were fighting and fighting. I was like, and I brought y'all in the room. I know you remember that.
Never forget it.
And I made y'all stand there and hug you. I think I whooped y'all and said, y'all gonna get along. Y'all gonna take care of each other. I'm speaking these things. You're gonna take care of each other. You're gonna take each other out to lunch. You're gonna support one another. And I made y'all stand there and hug each other.
Post fight, like, just
Active,
fought.
yes, active.
And was like, you're gonna stand here until I say stop.
Hugging.
You're gonna hug. And we were just like, okay.
Like, but it was funny, even when we were little and we used to like fight and disagree all the time, I still, because of you, I still would not let anybody mess with my sister. It was not happening. It was not going to fly. It was not cool with me. It was unacceptable. You're not going to mess with my sister.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I remember one of those memes that came up. It's like, my big sister don't fight, but I do. And I remember putting that on online one time. But that was very important to me. That was very important to me. Like, again, going back to family, what can I give you guys that I did not have? That was very important to me. One thing that really that, like, when you talked about me losing my mom, right? That was really hard, because I remember saying, oh my God, now I got a mother being motherless. And so that was really hard. Like, oh my God, now they don't even have a grandma. You know what I mean? So, like, just, you know, so that's why when we've had different conversations about, like, how has my parenting affected you guys knowing that I was adopted? You know, I feel like, and my brother and I talked about it, Lamont, about how parenting from a different lens, when you have gaps and missing puzzle pieces in your own story. You know, we didn't have, including my brother, we didn't have like you said, where I can drop y'all off with cousins, and no, it was just us three all the time. You know, not being able to drop you off at grandma, grandpa house, auntie house, uncle house. We just didn't have that, which made the job of parenting that much more challenging, you know. And then when you and I went through our rough patch, now you're not there. You know. So y'all share. Go ahead.
I would say, for how it affected your parenting, like, I'll say even now, right? Like, I mean, I'm a young adult. I'm young, I'm 19. I like to go out, right? I like to spend time with my friends, this and that. You're always like, Serena, like, you know what I mean? We're close. Me and you are very close. Like, we spend a lot of time together. We work together. So for me, sometimes it doesn't bother me, but, you know, sometimes I'll be like, oh my God, this woman. I'm like, she's always on me. I'm like, Mom, I'm okay. I'm going to go out. I'm going to come home. This and that and that. But for me, it's like, it's not something I villainize you for or anything like that. Like, because I understand it. We're your kids. And we're all each other has. We're your children. So for me, I'm just like, I know somebody. I know, in my thing, I will say this. For me, what I can always say, and I do always say, is that at the end of the day, if nobody else does, I know my mom loved me. I know my mom loves me. I know my mom's going to take care of me, all this and that. Like, and we take care of each other. Like, I'm always there for you. You're always there for me. All three of us are always there for each other. So I think it affected your parenting in the sense of just really being present. Like, you're very present, and you always have been, and you always will be. Like, and that's what it is. We're just very present in each other's lives. And you emphasize that.
I think it was hard for me when I was younger, because we almost were like besties. You know what I mean? And as a teenager, that was hard, because in ways I felt obligated to be your bestie. And now that I'm older, I think it's a beautiful thing. But when you're a kid and you want to be a kid, it can be hard. It can be really hard. But like I said, it reminded me that kind of relationship is rare.
Yeah.
And it's hard to come by. As long as there's boundaries, I think it's important to have that closeness, because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
But growing up, especially, like I said, as like middle schoolers, high schoolers, teenagers who want to go be teenagers, that can be hard, because it's like you did want to spend more time with us. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that, well, the family's not that big.
Yeah. So we kind of went through and I'm a big proponent of therapy. It was really hard, and it was hard. It wasn't easy, and I remember doing some therapy sessions, because one thing I'm a big proponent of, I'm going to be your mother, period. Don't ask me to fulfill another role, right? I can't be a therapist. And I knew I had, in order for me to maintain mothering as best as I could, when I was having challenges, y'all need a therapist. So remember that, okay, well, talk to your therapist about that, because I can't be your therapist and your mother, right? So I remember going through moments of that and realizing that through therapy, that when you mention about friends, right, that what I learned about that during that time was we had this, I would say, this unhealthy codependency. Because I'm treating you more, especially you being the firstborn, this codependency relationship where now the waters are it's muddy, because now I'm treating you more like a friend as opposed to my daughter, being the first one and the oldest one. I think I kind of got maybe a little bit better.
I think for me, I'll say this, especially because we're the same person, I have more of a dominating personality like you.
Yeah.
Me and you are both we're big people.
Yeah.
So for me, seeing you and Sanaa kind of deal with that and navigate that and deal with that, I honestly, in ways, I would, not necessarily even negatively, but I would sort of push you away in a sense, because I would set my boundary. That's what it was for me. For me, it was setting a boundary so that we didn't develop like that, essentially. Because I wanted a mother. I needed a mother.
Yeah.
So for me, my thing was, you're going to be a mother to me. And that's what our relationship is going to be. I'm your daughter. You're my mother. And I don't see it anyway like that anyway else.
Yeah.
I think she probably taught me how to do that.
Yeah. How to sort of, I create my boundaries. That's something I'm definitely a little more versed at. A little more versed at is keeping my boundaries. Yeah.
So, just, kind of bringing it full circle. That's why I think I wanted to make sure for this episode, the layers of identity, where you guys actually recognize and understand where I lacked and why I parented the way I did, and where we were missing, how we began building a village, through your friends and through our coworkers and that kind of thing. So for me, it's so deep, and I'm so humbled when people say we're family or take us in as family. It's so deep for me, where it may not be for somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is anything else y'all want to share that, profound about, knowing that I'm adopted and how you grew up, and any other epiphanies you may have had about identity?
I think a big one was probably your divorce, and that just has to do with the fact that I was a little bit older. You leaving dad was something that was, I think, hard, and I think it's kind of where that shame journey started for you, because now that the family is broken up, and you kind of come from a different dynamic too, I think you really were hard on yourself as a parent overall, because you had to do it alone and you didn't have the standard example. And so something I just want you to never forget is that you did better than people who do know who they come from. And that's, you know, and you were hard on yourself. And I feel like it's because you weren't able to paint that picture the way you think it's supposed to look. You know what I mean?
And I'm agree with that. That was going to be my thing too, is that, yeah, I even now, I always tell you, because I know you need to hear it, you know, like now that I'm an adult now, I'm realizing like, I also want to feed into my mother because of how much she fed into me. And I tell you all the time, you're an amazing mother. Amazing. Because I tell you all the time, like, the way I see some other people raised, I'm like, wow, I got lucky.
And I gotta laugh.
I know I did.
I gotta laugh because Serena often says, "Oh my God, mommy, and I'm so glad I got an old mother." I'll be like, "I'm not old," but most of her friends are
parents are in their 30s,
a decade younger than me.
Yes,
like I'm 54.
Plus.
And most of her friends' parents are like 40,
30, 40. No, even I have friends with their parents in their 30s.
Wow. Right.
Like, so for me, yes, it's like, and I can see the difference in just the way it is. But I feel like, again, that's what I talk about, boundaries too. That is one thing I have, but that's one thing you have with me as well. You always taught us we're your children.
Right.
We're not your friends. We're not anything else besides the people you created and you raised and reared and loved. And I think yes, it definitely affected the way you are. I think it affected the way we are now too also. We're independent. We're very independent people. And I notice some people my age aren't really capable of that, or they're just now catching on to it, when it's something I've been heavily doing since I was like 16 at least. Really before that, it's been my whole life. But for me, we always learned how to figure it out on our own, because we don't always have somebody to reach out to. We don't always have somebody to call. You may not always have the answers. Yeah. So for me, something I learned is that you got to carry your own. You have to carry yourself, because I don't always have somebody to fall back on. And even when I do, I still don't even like using it all the time. It's something I'm trying to pull myself out of. But I think but at the same time, I know that I can handle myself. I can handle my own. I know how to do certain things that my peers may not know how to do. I know, I may know what I want to do that my peers may not have any really direction in life. And it all comes from you. And it's like, even though it was hard, it came out with a lot of benefits on the other side.
And I think too, as far as parenting, trying not to raise you guys to be super hyper independent, trying to balance that out too. And then going back to identity and being now divorced from your dad, that was something I struggled with because I left the marriage, right? I wanted a divorce. And I struggled with that because I grew up in a 2-parent household, very well to do, never wanted for anything. And now I made the decision to leave the marriage. And now here I am, a single mom, broken family, as an adult, and I struggle with trying to figure out how to navigate this new way of life, because that wasn't my point of reference. Right. So I felt the need where I had to really go harder. Well, what can I give them? Well, I know I can give them the best education that money can afford, which is why I put you guys in private school. I was like, what can I give them? You know, so like you said, I probably did beat myself up and was a little harder on myself. So.
But it's been super cool watching you, like, learning Kristen Marie as opposed to just who my mom is.
Yeah.
That's been cool to watch.
And I think it's important too, you know, we share with our guests that, you know, kids need to understand that their parents, dad and mom, that's the role. But there are people behind that. There are people and identities behind that role. That's very important, because in the midst of our struggling, and you know, I had to say, y'all about to learn. You know, my name is Kristen Marie, right? I'm not just your mom. I remember times where we struggled, and I'd be like, I don't feel like being your mother today. You gonna meet Kristen today, you know, you know, in some of those challenging moments. So, you know, I just think it's real critical and it's important. And I always tell you guys that you guys are, by all my accomplishments, degrees, travel, work overseas, work here, y'all are my greatest achievement. By far my hardest achievement, but my greatest achievement is being able to rear and raise two wonderful, young, beautiful, intelligent young women. So we about to wrap it up. So I want y'all to share some last little nuggets.
I feel like anybody out there, never let your current situation stop you from creating your new one. You have
so
control over what you can control, and you can take control anytime, at any chapter in your life.
That's good. Thank you, Serena.
I would say I agree with that. You are who you are. You are whoever you decide to be. Nobody can tell you to be anything, to move. However, you do what you want to do with your life. And also, I say love y'all siblings. Love y'all siblings, because I know I love mine.
So I want to thank y'all for being my special guest. I want to thank y'all for sharing. I love how we as a family unit have taken our tough moments and learned from them. I love how we love one another. I love how we respect one another. I think it's real important. I tell y'all all the time, not only do I love you, I like you. And I think that's important too. You know what I mean? So I just want to thank God. I thank God for y'all every day that I was allowed to be y'all's mom. You know, despite being divorced, I will always, and I'm going to give him a shout out, I'm going to always love James Bostic, because without my ex-husband, there would be no Serena and there would be no Sanaa. So thank y'all for being my guests. I love y'all.
Come on, we love you too. We love you.
That's another episode.